Hello there everyone, and welcome to another episode of my Let's Play World of Tanks. This one's a little different here, I'm in something that I promised that I normally would get to, I don't know, whenever. Yeah, we ended up doing a little not clan wars, no, that's way too soon, company battle actually. And so we managed to get, how should I put it, we were organizing a little bit of practice here and there to try and get used to the whole company battles before they restructure it with the different tiers in it, and also so we can hopefully prep a little bit for clan wars in the future. So we decided to give it a shot, see what would happen. We tried to limit it to having a certain ranking a tank, certain strategies, so on and so forth. But clan wars in general is a very difficult thing to really approach topic-wise. We had the problem of not having enough tanks that are tier 10, obviously, and not in clan wars. It seems that all the major players have full complement of tier 10 tanks, easily tons of people deep, so they can defend all day long without much of a problem. And we're just starting out, really don't have what we need to get involved. So we're just trying to get a little practice in, see what different options we have, how we can perform, what works, what doesn't, at least strategy-wise. So, Clan Wars does present an interesting debate, because a lot of it is based on the fact that, well, it's not a completely uncommon thing to know that the major players in Clan Wars all have pacts with each other, so that, for the most part, they can sit there uncontested and rake in the gold for their clan, which, I mean, is a very sound strategy. They had to obviously get there somehow, so, I mean, there's nothing against that, nothing against how they did to get there, and holding it the way they are is perfectly legit into my book. I would do this exact same thing if it was up to me. So, it does make it a little difficult for those of us who are new to Clan Wars to be able to jump in on it, but I can understand it. Hopefully with a little bit of, how should I say it? It's rumored that in the near future, they're going to open up a few new zones, which is going to help, and make things a little more casual clan friendly. We'll have to see how that actually gets implemented. There's a bunch of different rumors and talk about how all different sorts of things are going to work out. But it will be interesting to see how we can participate. Because as you can see by our team list over here, we have 2 tier 7s, I can't see the rest, 9s, 8s, random assorted artillery, scouts, etc., etc. It's, Clan Wars is certainly a tier 10 players game, and artillery obviously tier 8. So that leaves us with the option of company battles, which is a little bit better in terms of just practicing and having fun, but you don't really achieve anything as much as you do in Clan Wars. What you do in company battles is you're limited to 90 points total. Obviously, a tank's tier represents the amount of points that it's valued at, and so you can distribute those points as you see fit. We went with a more diverse spread here, whereas the team we're playing against went with a more stacked spread, putting a lot of people in tier 10s, 9s, and then artilleries and 8s. So, with our strategy here, kind of are left with whatever we're allowed to use. It's kind of the mixture of what we have versus what we need. We had to do a little bit of moving around to fit as many people in as we could, because obviously we want to include as many people as we can. So, not to leave anyone out, we kind of had to shift some people into tanks that they might not be familiar with. I'm here playing them in my best tank, the Tiger II. I wouldn't call it my best. I'd say the highest tier that I have tank. So, I mean, in the reality of things, the Tiger II is probably the bare minimum that you'd want, and I mean not even a stock Tiger II. You need the fully upgraded Tiger II, preferably the turret on it, but I didn't have the turret right at this time with which to do anything. So, it's probably the bare minimum you can get by with. You want to have better than the Tiger II if possible. See, now here it's going to get a little bit boring because all the action's happening in the water over there. Very little was coming around the side that I'm sitting here positioned on. I believe I will see 2 mice in a minute, as all the E100s decided to go through the water. The 2 mediums went up top, which I was shooting at earlier, which it made sense. They're trying to spot our artillery, but it didn't really pay a lot. So, Right now our artillery is trying to target all the different things. Our artillery certainly was our strong point here. Made a big difference being able to hit them as often as possible heavily with that. So it leaves the smaller tanks like me to be able to get around and hit the weak points without much worrying about it, as I do, you know, 200, 300, 400 damage max, whereas artillery's doing 500, 600. Makes a big difference. Now,
they know what they're doing.
At the moment, we have a, I believe it's a Pershing or Patton all the way at the end of the other island, sniping the E-100 at the end. See, and here we go. Now they're starting to push on our flank. Took them a little bit. We did have our forces spread so that we were ready. Of course, I'm going to get Von here trapped in a minute. It does happen, though. I wasn't paying... Well, his tank's obviously a lot faster than mine, so I kind of got him trapped.
You're faster than I am.
But not a big deal. After all, he still made it through it all right. But for what I found, the weak parts on the mouse was aiming right there at the bottom little plate there. I could get right through there, no problem at all. But once he got covered by the IS-7, I had to switch targets. I couldn't help him anymore, which I felt bad for doing. Not a lot I could do. He kind of pinned himself in there on purpose, preventing me from doing anything. But if I swung around, I was able to do some damage to the lower hull. If I get to the rear, I knew I could penetrate. So, luckily, one got eliminated, and I was left with one that was not facing me at all, so I could sit there and shoot him from the rear all day long. Except, for some odd reason, their artillery had perfect lines on me whenever I was able to get around behind them. Which, I mean, probably my own fault for not really thinking out where their artillery was. But, there we go. Beautiful shot there, but there's very little that you can do when you got that really slow mouse and you got a tank behind you. Obviously, I'm going to have some great shots here on it. Of course, not doing anything to it, to the randomness of the angle I was at versus the gun I have. But surprisingly, we are able to eliminate the mice. Now, here, I was actually surprised I got killed. That was a random artillery hit. I wasn't even sure where it got me from. I was behind the tank for one, then behind the hill for another. But her little leopard here was just dinging off him for fun, trying to track him, I believe. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do. He makes the mistake of backing up. He really should have stayed right up against him. But still, kind of comical. Don't know what he was trying to do. There's a little bit of chaos. Something that really needs to be handed down is the fact that you need to have a lot of fire or talk discipline when it comes to playing in these sorts of games. Too many people talking over each other makes it very difficult. I'm probably gonna have to lower the volume actually, because as I'm recording now over top of it, I can hear all that chatter. It's like, wow, yeah, you really need to be a little bit better with discipline in terms of your voice chatter. But otherwise, I felt our strategy here was pretty sound. We just did a few things wrong. Obviously, I didn't know I was being able to be seen by artillery. But that little mouse, he's sitting there pretty hurt. We did all we could to him. He got shotgunned by the artillery. Problem solved. They definitely need to reposition after they were spotted like that. So they did what they could. Now the tank over here in that corner really did stick himself in a nice position. He would have had to any of our tanks would have had to been drawn into the open for the artillery to hit them, or he would have been able to shoot them in order for us to get to him. So it worked out really well for him as to what he was doing. But we figured something out eventually to deal with him. But he certainly had a sound strategy. Pull people into the open so the artillery could take care of them. Sadly, the Patton here was able to get a few shots in. I don't think was able to completely do anything, but still, was a good attempt. Now, as I was saying back with company battles, the company battles are actually getting broken up in, I believe, the next patch or two. I'll give a full patch review in probably my next video. But they were able to break it up so that you're seeing now tier 9s and 10s, tiers 7s and 8s, and then 5s and below. No, 6 and 5s and 4s and below for your company battles. I'll have to look into it more, but they're certainly breaking them up by tier, which should make things different. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess that'll be up to you guys whenever we start to get into that. But with the tier sectioning out like that, it should make it a more fair fight, but also it should make things a little more difficult to join battles, because if you look at our clan, we might not have everything we need with which to participate in the higher tier ones that we want to, but we certainly can do some good stuff down in like the tier 6 ones. So it should be interesting to find out how it will turn out. The test servers should go up anytime now, and they will certainly have the good experience with them. Hopefully they'll figure out what it is that will work for them, what won't, and they can brush it up a bit, make sure it works well. Now, in terms of anything else, like the Clan Wars, I'd really like to see something come up with more territories, and it be more casual oriented. I mean, obviously you don't want to make it so that the hardcore clans have done nothing and they have nothing left to work for. Certainly, what they're doing, they need to be working for daily, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it would be nice for the Clan Wars to be a little, I don't want to call it casual, but more social clan friendly. I mean, we average about 90 players on a given day. Maybe take a few applications in, remove a few inactive players, so on and so forth. But clans like, I'm not going to name names, but there's certain clans that have upwards of 4 sub-clans that we cannot obviously be able to manage at the moment. Just the logistics and everything else behind it is prohibitive for us to do that sort of thing. But we don't necessarily have the talent nor the tanks with which to compete at the level that I'm sure they are in. And, again, they should be rewarded for what they're doing, but it'd be nice for us to get a little piece of the pie somewhere along the lines. I don't know how it'd be implemented. I know there's been some big debate as to a mercenary system, like you can hire the social lower level clans like us to be able to help out where possible, with either, I think maybe throwing in a tank or two here or there into a Clan Wars, or maybe some sort of pre-Clan War battle raid. Not exactly sure on how it was going to work, but should be interesting if they do implement something like that. Now, as you can see here, we have finally started to take things into to our favor here. We saw that one tank that's hiding around the corner in front of this tank that I'm watching right now, and then the artillery in the rear. Now, we already know that we kind of have it wrapped up, but we can't get too much ahead of ourselves, because it's very easy for us to obviously get eliminated if we don't pay attention. So, overall, it's an interesting experience doing this clan battles, or company battles rather, in Clan Wars. With any luck, we're going to try and get to it maybe, you know, do it every so often. Once a week, maybe twice a week. Give it a shot, see how we like it. It's certainly a nice team building activity, certainly something different to do than the standard platoon with 3 people and hope for the best. Since we can't do the super platoons yet, which is also on the horizon of 5 players a platoon, this is the next best thing we can do, so why not? Figured give it a shot, see how we like it. We did good here, but then again we went and lost the next one. So, this was not bad for our first attempt. I think we did pretty well, and hopefully in the future we do pretty well as well. So, anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this interesting episode here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Also, I now have a Twitter up, so if you guys don't mind, if you want to follow me, I am at Darkling, which I'll put a link down in the bottom. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next episode.